Gods. Shazam Fury of the Gods. It's been out for a while, and now it's out on streaming, Amazon Prime. That's going to go over to HBO Max, or whatever they're calling it now. It's the pseudo-controversial sequel to the Shazam thing. Basically, after, was it Zaslav? The new people bought the DC people during these last, I think it was Zaslav, yeah. WBDC people bought the company and hired on James Gunn to do the DC stuff. Basically, all the old DCEU movies don't matter. So even though they're still coming out with a Flash movie and Aquaman 2, after that, those two movies aren't canon anymore. So, neither was this one. Yeah. And also the Black Adam movie was meant to be... Well, these movies came out like this is the pandemic's been technically over for about a year or so. But these movies were in production during. So, Black Adam should have come out... It was delayed, and it should have come out probably after this. But it came out before. Because some got delayed. One of them got delayed and ended up back. So they were going to have, apparently the other version of the ending of this was going to have, Black Adam was going to come out and introduce everything, and he was going to have a cameo at the end of this one. So yeah, they are in order. They did come out in order, but they came out a year late. Yeah, that's what it is. They came out a year later than they should have. So technically should have been last year. Then one would have come out after the other, but they were literally months apart instead in this version. So it doesn't make sense, because clearly the after credit stuff is something else. Justice Society's even referenced. So yeah, Black Adam should have been right after this movie, not before, because it referenced the Justice Society in credits. And apparently the Rock wanted it to be not to be a James Cavill reference, a Wonder Woman reference. You gotta wonder though, Wonder Woman 84 kind of ruined it, because in that one she brings back her dead boyfriend with the wishing stone, and now in this one she brings back Billy Batson at the end. So we got, and then has to send it back. So here we have a sequel to the Shazam movie, the current one. With the Shazam family doing their thing, and there's like a couple of evil sorceresses, and a slightly older evil sorceress, and then a middle-aged evil sorceress lady, and there's a third one, because it's Daughters of Atlas. There's supposed to be a third one. And the third one is undercover at the high school. Is the Anne character that the kid with the crutches befriends. And there's a whole backstory with that. Goes on for a while, and it's clearly obvious she's a spy for the three sisters. It's really obvious. It paint by numbers kind of thing. It's trying desperately to be a Marvel movie, and yes, Shazam is Captain Marvel, so they do reference that at one point. Yeah, the character's gone back and forth between Marvel and DC. Yeah, so Captain Marvel is Shazam. And Shazam is a version of their Thor, but also a version of Superman, so it's kind of this weird sort of back and forth. It's an interesting history. You can look it up on YouTube. There are several people that have done the history of Shazam, Captain Marvel, the Marvels, and all that. Of course, some of the alt-right sites are complaining about the Marvels movie, and I guess I haven't seen young Captain Marvel, the girl one. But I understand that it is accurate with the comics, so the right-wingers are dumb. It's accurate with the comics. The later Captain Marvel is going on for like 8 years, and it's the young girl one. And then there's Photon, who is another Captain Marvel. So that's also canon with the books, and Photon goes back to the 80s. She's been around in the 80s, yeah. So it's like, they changed it around a little bit. Who was America Chavez? That was another character they threw. Yeah, they're just not paying attention. If the comic books want to reinvent a certain backstory for certain characters, that's fine. And this one reinvents some stuff with the Shazam thing too, making it a team. But really, one of the later comics did that too. So they're not inconsistent with that timeline. It's like Power Rangers, but with superheroes. And that's fine. There's the evil witch ladies are plotting. They've captured. They eventually capture the blue one with the crutch. And the other ones are trying to get him back, and they unleash a dragon, and they've got an apple of the Tree of Life thing, so they basically do the Tree of Life thing, which is also Thor kind of thing, the lightning and all that. And also, it also seems to reference to a scene in Canary Space where they found a technical Tree of Life in the ground. But I was probably thinking of the comic books from years ago, so I wrote that. So I got it from the same, the Shazam comics, and the mythology and all that stuff. And then there's a Tree of Life in the Bible too, but it's not the same one. It's the Tree of Life from Norse mythology and Greek. It's a different one, because there's apples in it, and that would be their version, the Greek, and then the Norse one. It's a little different. Yeah, it makes imps and things and trolls and things and unicorns and. They mixed a bunch of stuff in together just to put it in a blender. Now they have a big battle in the third act where there's no real third act breakup. Instead, they just take away the younger sister's powers, and then they got to get him back, and then Shazam resuscitates the older one who gets attacked by the middle one, and she stops the middle one from destroying Philadelphia. And yeah, pretty much, And then Shazam supposedly died. He's trying to stop and they can take away their powers randomly. So they take away all their powers, leaving him. And the Ghost Man came out of the black Rastafari Ghost Man came out of the thing, and he's running around. And he's alive, and apparently he can come in and out of magic like it's real. They bury the Billy Batson character only to have him revived by Wonder Woman later on. Clearly they meant for somebody else to be doing that, but they wrote it as Wonder Woman. It was probably meant to be, because that's just weird. If they did originally mean that in the script, I didn't think she could revive people from the dead. Well, she had the magic staff with her, so I guess. Except the staff was destroying everything, and now suddenly it's creating it. So I don't know how that works, but anyway. So we have a movie that has a lot of issues, but since I rented it for like $19 on Amazon Prime, I'm not gonna really defend it or necessarily riff on it too much, because it's already halfway there, and it's not canon with the newer DCEU. They're gonna reboot it. If they rebooted it in the way that they rebooted the Suicide Squad, they did a remake of that, then it kind of can use the same characters, and they might. Also with the Flash movie, they're marketing that as more of a Batman Flashpoint. So they got more of a Keaton in there and stuff. Because of Ezra Miller's less than stellar post-movie career running around, acting weird. They can't do anything about that. So we have, and then we have a Marvel with a similar problem with a Marvel character that was introduced in Ant-Man Quantumania. The bad guy is playing Kang. Apparently is kind of in trouble too for other reasons. So that guy's in trouble too. So I was like, well, their main villain is apparently doing villainous things, or at least allegedly. So they might have to recast. They've done it before, so they could. The back to the Shazam movie. There's really it's fine. I don't know why the critics hated it so much. It's basically a DC superhero movie. I mean, it could have stood some trimming up, but some of the jokes land. For the most part. The feeding the Skittles to the unicorns is bizarre, but sure, I'm sure the director put that in there as sort of a joke. The unicorns don't do much; they ride around on them, which is a plot hole, because they get on the unicorns and they go out, and then they're in the van again. There's a van, and they get in it, and they get out. And they get out. So what was the point of getting in the van and riding around aimlessly? If you're going to get on the unicorns and ride around aimlessly, or they disappear. It's like some scenes were edited in the wrong order. They probably should have said, okay, all the scenes where they're in the van should have come to a certain point, and then they stop, find the unicorns, and then they go out to ride to the edge of the thing. And don't show the van again until they ride to the edge of the thing. And then have the van pull up without them in it. That would have fixed that plot hole. But yeah. But you figure it's a movie where people yell Shazam and change into superheroes, so it's basically a kids movie masquerading as a teenage movie. So sure, why not? You can get away with stuff like that and that kind of thing. You're not and it's a comic book, so it works on its level. DC Comics tends to be Marvel kind of stuff, so DC Comics tends to want to try and imitate Marvel, but we're not really Marvel. We just like it. DC is all. We tend to do the yeah. The Aquaman movie was good. The Suicide Squad remake was good, and the longer version of the Snyder Cut was okay. It was better than the other one. I don't have the same thing. They were saying, some of them were saying the different Superman movies, that the newer ones were, some of them were liking that, and those were not quite Superman. My Superman character is Christopher Reeves from the 80s. Those Richard Donner Superman movies. The Cavill's a new guy. He's not really quite that. But Batman. Who's my Batman? A Batman. Well, let's see. Probably, the Keaton Batman movie. Keaton Batman movie, 89. Keaton is Batman. But The Dark Knight was amazing. The Nolan one. That was amazing. So, a Batman. And mainly because of Heath Ledger. I like the Batman stuff. The Batman stuff. And the newer one was Twilight Boy, actually. That was okay, actually. And some other people have said, it's the Elsewhere saga, because Joker, that new Joker movie, it's kind of this, Elseworld. Of course, Elseworld. Yes, I know what that is. Also, some of them didn't point out when that new Twilight Boy Batman, because this is DCEU look back kind of thing at this into this timeline. We'll go on to watch, of course, Aquaman and Flash, and see whether that's not going to be relevant anymore. But here they are, Aquaman 2 and Flash. But for sure, why not? I'll ramble about DC for a little bit. I like the Twilight Boy Batman. I think I commented on it when I reviewed the Twilight one from last year. The Cat one wasn't bad. The Batman wasn't bad. He's sort of a young Batman, sort of a Batman Year One kind of thing. And if you look at the comics, Batman Year One and Shadow of the Bat and that kind of thing, Arkham, and you look back at the Long Halloween, which Nolan also did parts of for his thing with the Scarecrow and all that. He also did Long Halloween. He also did those other ones, but this newer one did it too. So this new one was Long Halloween again. Because the Penguin, awesome. So and the critics didn't notice that. I noticed that. Some of the fans noticed that. It isn't just us. Anyway, so the Shazam movie wasn't bad. I know the critics hated it, gave it 30%. The fans were a little more lenient and they gave it 70, 80%. It's about that. It's about 3 stars. It's fine. It's not great. it's not getting like, oh my gosh, this is the most amazing thing ever. I'm sure it was better on the big screen, but I never got to see it on the big screen. I'm sure it was fine, but yeah. That Shazam 2. Black Adam was not as good. Yeah, Black Adam was, there were some issues with that movie. Not because he was black, but because the movie had issues. Yeah, that wasn't as good. And the Birds of Prey, the animation of Harley Quinn, parts of that were good, but it was like it was two different movies going on. And what they should have done was a Harley Quinn movie called The Emancipation of Harley Quinn and a Birds of Prey movie, because technically those two comic books are not connected in any way. The Birds of Prey are a different version of vigilante lady fighters, and they're not connected to her. They wouldn't hang out with her. They would fight her instead. So that was a little screwy, so that one was kind of a mess. We'll see how they reboot that. But yes, so that kind of didn't work. Yeah. So, yeah. It does make an interesting can of worms, though, because if they're all teenagers and they could become and some of them are young teenagers and they could become superheroes, they could mess around and then get pregnant and then become superheroes, and then that would be a problem. They could change back. So, yeah, they need to not mess around. Anyway, so. Anyways, yeah. Anyway, that's the end of that one.